Hello, it's Mother Goose CLC with the bad lighting, spilling all the tea on BBH18. We're done with the rhymes. We're back with my shoddy hotspot internet because, spoiler alert, Foster has not been evicted yet, so I still have to do this in the business center. I see someone crossing the speakers backstage that I can. Oh. Every time I say seriously or serious, my Siri kicks off and it fucks up my microphone. Anyway, we're done talking because we're going to bring on my special guest. He was here yesterday. He's here to talk about another. Oh my God. Fuck off. Sorry. My internet's not going well today. He's here to talk about another crazy. Why does it keep triggering? Oh my God. This is a disaster. It's fine. He is here. Okay, now it didn't trigger. So weird. To talk about another crazy HOH that he didn't actually do. So it's fun for him. It's Lee Verrill.
Hi.
No words. Okay.
No words yet.
No words yet.
We'll wait. My name says it all.
Oh, not that. Leave Frankie out of this.
Just Frankie.
I mean, valid. That's very valid. But he's the one who used those words.
That's true.
Making his BBH18 Morning Tea debut from his classroom. It's Josh Gonsalvo.
It is I. I'm here. I was going to make a joke about the Foster of it all. I had that in mind. I'm glad Lee did because it is easily the funniest thing that's happening in this season. And it's basically everyone thirsting over Carl's boyfriend.
It's really funny.
Also, I do want to tell a quick little story. This is going to mean nothing to anyone, but I'm going to tell it anyway. It's has a semi BBH connection because Jenny texted me this morning and said that she found her AirPods that she lost while playing BBH10, and that was during the pandemic. So that was like August of 2020, I believe, is when that happened. And so good. Congratulations to Jenny who found. She said she gasped. They were in a lunchbox. And go figure, because I've used that lunchbox many a time since I brought it to school multiple times. So anyway, good for her. She found her her AirPods now that she needs them because she bought new ones since then because she couldn't find them anywhere. So anyway, hope everyone's doing well. I'm enjoying this first couple days of the season. If you hear like whistles or kids or whatever, the gym is right outside my classroom, so kids are playing basketball and having a good old time. People.
Oh. I thought it was me.
Nope.
Oh, that's iconic.
Someone at the school noticed that Josh wasn't working.
Oh my God, I'm cackling. Okay, well, we're gonna move on while we wait on him to make a return.
Screenshot this real quick. Okay. All right, we're good.
Oh, alrighty. I'm gonna remove him from. There we go. He's gone.
Well,
we're gonna talk about the tea. Maybe Josh will join us. Oh man. Sorry, that was really fucking great. Okay. But honestly, not as great as day one. Day one had me all shades of just wet. It is TV. It's a TV wet dream. It's gold. It was so fucking good. Every twist and turn, you could not make this fucking shit up. It was so good. We're going to get all into it. He's back? Oh, did he freeze again?
Not Josh looking like
we're who knows?
Oh God, that really took me out. Okay.
Am I here?
Well, yeah, you're here.
Okay. We'll see how this goes.
Alrighty. Well, I mean, we'll get to the true like kit and caboodle of it all, but I want to just talk about all the work that everyone had been doing kind of pre the HOH being completed, because the HOH and the aftermath has a lot to discuss, but definitely want to give people their roses, their flowers, and some people a big wake-up call, because we're entering day 2 and some of you hosts have not called yet, and I'm questioning what you are doing. This was all before the HOH. Frankie, Judy, and Madison had not called anyone until an HOH was crowned. Since then, Frankie has watched The Real Housewives of Potomac, something with Keisha on call.
I think it was, because they said RHOP, so that has to be, right? There's not another P place.
I don't watch The Housewives. Steph Fagan in the comments watches The Housewives. She can tell us, is there only one P of The Housewives? Is it only Potomac? Anyway. Lord. Mess. Oh, is he frozen again?
Yeah, he is.
Oh, no. Well, whatever. He'll drop in a second. It's fine. But Frankie hadn't called, and then Madison hadn't called. But since the HOH, we'll get to her, she definitely has had a full 180 in this game. She has woken up and decided to call people. So, like, good on her. But, like, coming into the HOH, hadn't called anyone. The only person left in this entire game who has yet to hop on a call with someone is Judy. And it's weird because she's played before. Like, she's played Havoc, which I have to imagine people called in that. But maybe that's not an accurate statement. I don't know. And there he goes.
I truly don't know Judy's call history.
But it's kind of wild to me that, like, hello? But whatever. I mean, it's what it is.
Whatever works. She's not nominated. Spoiler,
but people who did one call Ashley did one call with Foser. Daniel called Keisha. Marcus called Foser. Good call, Marcus, trying to work on his connection with Foser. And we'll get to that, which I think might be his most key connection coming in to what looks to be not a strong situation for Marcus. And then Jodely calls Karthik. Jodely, not a huge fan of Karthik, because I think Jodely just hates when people know that they've done well in other games. And Karthik very much knows that Jodely just won Havoc. And Jodely's not a fan of that.
Which, if I can say something about that really quick, I actually don't hate the approach, because I was listening on it, and I know that we'll talk about this later, but Karthik used the same approach with Michael Brady, and it landed really, really well. And he offers that, I know you're good. I want to work with people who know how to be good.
Exactly.
And, like, the way he talks about it is absolutely the way that you should address someone that you know is successful at games. He says, I don't want to play with people who make mistakes. I don't want to play with people who are bad at the game. I want to play with you because you can win.
Yeah. Exactly.
I don't understand why. Like, I take it however you want. Like, I get it. Like, Jodely doesn't want to be clocked, but like, if Jodely thinks Karthik's going to be the person that clocks them, like, there are plenty of other people out there.
You gotta spin it. You gotta spin it as someone who literally walked into Instinct off of a fresh win with people who I played my previous winning game with, who knew I had just won. One of them I had voted out during that game. The other one was on a different tribe. But, like, you have to spin it. You have to make it into something, because
I don't think they were really that much threatening to your game in either scenario. But
okay, you're done. But, like, no win in this community is sacred. No win is going to be kept private. It's all public knowledge. It's a public domain, and shit moves quick around here. Like, come on. It's a small community. So, Jodely, you got to play into it. A lot of people know you won.
Like, it's not like you're outing some huge secret. Like,
right?
Jodely, I saw your winner post on a Facebook page.
Exactly. Like, come on now. A lot of people are in that group. Our 2 call people, Tony, who calls Foser and Sam, who calls Tony and Preston, Michael, who calls Preston and Lauren. We'll get to the Michael and the Lauren of it all. And then Keisha, who calls Gabby and Daniel. I think Keisha is going to be one of Daniel's strongest allies coming into what's coming forward. He is back.
We'll see if this works. We'll find out. I'm on my iPad now.
Work. We love it. I think Keisha will be a huge ally for Daniel coming into today, with the situation that Daniel might find himself in. So we'll see. Tony continuing to be very polarizing in the sense of some love him and find him so adorable and amazing, and others are just like, I'm not vibing. I'm not vibing. And again, it's an age thing. There's a lot of things at play here. Tony is so dying to get to know everyone. Others are really trying to be under the radar and not want to do anything too quickly. And I think that is creating such a barrier for Tony. With someone like Sam, like Tony's call with Foster being like, oh, he's so adorable. He's so sweet. Like, I can tell he's very guarded right now. And then you have Sam who walks away being like, nope, Tony only wanted to talk about reality TV, which I watch none of. This is not a good working relationship. So, pros and cons. But I mean, we'll all allude to the Michael and Lauren of it all. Michael is very worried about Lauren and how much she leaks stuff and I think it's unintentional by Lauren. I don't think Lauren realizes the impact of what she's saying. Like I think on their first call, she brought up that she
leave me alone, people. I'm over it.
Lauren brought up that she thinks that Sam Lechner is running the game. Probably not a great person to tell that to Michael Brady, who is very heavily working with Sam Lechner. Also not great to Lauren messaged Preston right after she had called with Michael and was like, Preston, I hear we're calling the same people today. Like, look at us. Also not something you want to tell people, because now you've just implicated
I think the
everyone
worst
else.
thing about all of that is that she sends, obviously she's not going to know this, but she sends this to him while he's on call with Sam Lechner. And he's just like, oh, Lauren just sent me this message that's like, hey, it sounds like we're talking to the same people. And they're talking her on this call.
Yeah, and again, it's her first org. It's classic first org mistakes. So I'm not gonna harp on it too much, but it's definitely when she's trying to work with an org vet like Michael Brady, who does not want mistakes, who wants a clean Ocean's 11 break in and get his crown and walk away. He's got no time for this. This is the worst person to be making this mistakes with. Doing it with someone like Keisha or Foster might find it more endearing, being like, oh, you're a first orger. You're making the mistakes I made eons ago. Brady's like, no.
To an extent, I can defend it. But I also think thinking about text etiquette and just talking to people, I would never text you, Carl, and be like, I heard we've been texting the same people today. That's weird.
Yeah.
Yeah. No.
Yeah. It's less weird if you have an established, if it's outside of the context of the game, less weird if it's close friends. More difficult in this. She's just I'm living for the Lauren experience, and I think our viewers are doing the same. And it's and she is making a lot of what we would call rookie mistakes, but it just feels like she's making a lot of them. Yeah, she's and I think that this HOH is good for her to have, and maybe she'll I think we'll see the true test of whether Lauren has learned anything is when she comes out of this in the next round. And if she faces any adversity, a nomination or whatever, or not, can she handle paranoia when she's not in power? Is the question. We always have said paranoia is an okay thing to harness if you can harness it, but she has not harnessed it to her diary room / confessionals. It is leaked out into many a place.
Yeah, many a place. Speaking of our 3 called people, we've already talked about Lauren, who called Karthik, Preston, and Michael. Lauren's still on the hunt for her first alliance. She's now 2 days behind on her initial goal of getting it done on day 0, and here we are on day 2, still no alliance. It looks as though it might end up being Michael Brady and Gabby. Looks like she's kicked Foster out of the trio and might be Michael Brady, but who knows? We'll see. Gabby called 3 people, Karthik, Keisha, Preston, and seems to be very vibing with Karthik, and Karthik very much vibing back with Gabby. Definitely a duo to keep your eyes on. And then Karthik called Gabby, Lauren, and Jodely. Not a fan of the call he had with Lauren, because Lauren is very business email on calls. She reminds me, I don't think Hannah Beard's watching because it's very early her time, but like when I played Endure with Hannah Beard has no time. When I played Endure with her, at least she had no time to like get to know you. She wanted to talk game and move on. She's a busy gal, and that's how Lauren felt. She's like, all right, we got to get on. How you feeling? Great, awesome, got to run. And she openly told Karthik she's going to go call Michael Brady after their call. So like Karthik was like, oh, great. So happy that I was just like a transaction for you while you go call.
I do wish there's a little less of. I wish like it was not so like faux pas to be like, I'm gonna go talk to someone else now. Because
happening a bit more in this cast, to be honest. I've been hearing a lot of people say like, I've told so and so I'm gonna call them, so I need to leave. I think I've heard that at the conclusion of many more calls than I've thought. Like I never would have said. My go-to was always, I'm gonna go walk the dog now, and was usually a clue that I was gonna go call someone else. But but they seem a lot more open about it, and so I don't think it's just Lauren doing it, but I think I just think the delivery isn't always the best.
And I think it was because the call was so short. Like literally I saw Karthik and Lauren on, and the next thing I know, I'm like, oh, it's done. The call's over. Like it was so quick and felt very transactional. Oh no. Screen grab. This is too great. But in my opinion, not the gun.
Oh, no.
My God. But in my opinion, the two winners of the pre-HOH are Foser and Preston, both getting on 4 and 5 calls respectively. Really just solidifying a great spot for himself. Foser, I think, needed that. I think Foser was in that like, okay, playing kind of like the Lauren Murphy game of last season. Like, all right, he's not inactive, he's active, but like there's definitely a group of people who would probably nominate him if his communication level continues with them. And he really picked it up on day one. So I think Foster and Preston had a very strong start to day one, especially also hopping on the later board game call that we'll get to eventually, which I think is always beneficial to be on those because you get that FaceTime in a very casual environment.
It's interesting to me that you bring up Lauren here, and I think that we made the comparison yesterday also to Megs, because I see like if Foster and Preston do decide to work together longer term, I could actually see something becoming very similar to like the Lauren and Megs of it all. But I think watching Foster on the calls and how he really picked it up and how he just totally enamors people on calls, I think it is such a Megs energy. And I think and I even think like in terms of compability and all the things that I think there are so many parallels coming into this first round between Foser and Megs. So I'm very interested to see, because he still hasn't called with the majority of the cast. And I think that as he is, he seems to be calling with the right people or talking to the right people, but the calls are only earning him more favor and getting him in more, in more information, getting him in the door more, people wanting to include him in more things. And so while he hasn't called with Lauren yet, like I feel like when he does, like she may want to include him in something then. And he's gone.
No, that was an intentional leave.
Okay, I was like, okay. Right.
I saw Anthony tag me in the Discord. He said, "This is Josh on Morning Tea," so I wanted to know what he was. He was posting the video from BBH18 when we were introducing everyone, and I had like a complete technological meltdown. Anyway, continue.
Sorry, I'm truly laughing. You could be the one to say it, Lee. All right, we will.
Say what?
The sound not be sounding, Josh. It's
See you guys tomorrow.
No. Poor thing. I feel bad for him.
He needs to just hotspot to his phone. I don't know why he's not doing that.
I don't know. I don't know. He just doesn't just calling on his phone. I don't fucking know. I don't know.
Anyway.
Come on, robot voice. Come on, staticky audio help. Poor thing. Well, Josh will be back tomorrow after he troubleshoots everything.
Yeah, when he joked yesterday about sounding like the Charlie Brown teacher and I didn't hear it, today I heard it.
We'll get into the plague because this is the big meat of today. We start off with Keisha, who is drawn randomly for safety, and a little bit of a shocking pick out the gate. Picks Foser to knock out of the competition. She basically ran around being like, to most people, you're safe. I know who I'm picking. And lands on Foser. A lot of people were like, oh, what's the tea there? Because a lot of people were kind of shocked by that pick. And Keisha was just like, oh, no, honestly, he was the last person I talked to, and I haven't really talked a ton to him, so I just picked him. Basically, it seemed like Keisha was just going to pick someone in that bottom tier group of communication with her. And he had just messaged her, and she said, yep, all right, you.
Okay. I have been super complimentary of Keisha, but I have to criticize something Keisha did because I can't let it go. I have to be objective here. But Keisha, you can't bullshit a bullshitter. You don't tell someone I'm trying to hide how close we are. Just say I'm plaguing you.
Well, okay, we did ask Keisha in her DR, like, is this...
I don't buy it.
Okay, well, you don't have to buy it. I'm just going to communicate what she told us.
Yes. I think she genuinely wants to work on a relationship, but like you aren't close. Like you plagued him because you aren't close.
Yeah, exactly. No, that's valid. Yeah, I mean, Foser did not like take it poorly, but he wasn't like happy about it because.
Yeah. Well, I mean, at least she told him unlike half the cast.
Yeah, I mean, unlike half the cast. Yeah, Foser straight up was like, "Hey, Keisha, good morning." And Keisha's like, "Hey, so I'm gonna plague you if that's okay." And Foser's like,
I have no problem with that. I have no problem. My problem is just with the fact of like, say, like we haven't talked much. Like I want to get to know you more. That's fine. But like it's that bullshit I fed Tay. It was like, I'm just gonna hide how close we are. No one will see this. Like, she's not trying to hide anything.
Literally. I'm in the business center. Please give my camera and the lighting here a break. It's bad. Okay, we know. Okay. Yeah, Foster didn't take it like poorly, but was like, all right, cool, awesome. He definitely tried to salvage it, be like, hey, we can still work together. I'm not angry. And that's when Keisha came up with the classic, I want to hide our relationship. No one's gonna see that we plagued each other and that we're together, when in all reality, as the game progresses, everyone's like, oh, you plagued that person, you must be working together. Oh, you plagued that person, y'all are working together. Like, if anything, it's the exact opposite. Everyone's expecting you to plague someone that you're working with because nearly nobody wanted this at a household. And it was very evident.
But even if you wanted it, you didn't have a chance to tell people because you were plaguing people without asking them.
Well, as Lee predicted, and Stoke said it best, he's like, I'm picking the over on that one. Let's get into it's like a 4 or 5 person streak. I lied. 1, 2. It's a 4-person streak of people being plagued and being given no reason. Even if the reason is very evident and clear without having to be said, there's no communication. Yeah. So Foser plagues Frankie because at that time, they had a whopping 1 message between them from Foser to Frankie with no response.
Yeah. And like, you can't fault that. I mean, you there are a couple of things where it's like, you could tell them, but also if they haven't responded to you in 24 hours and they have never said anything to you, I don't think you can expect much from them.
Yeah, no. And that was the first pick I expected. I expected Frankie to be the first plague pick because duh. But, hey, whatever. Frankie, and this is, again, another rookie mistake that we're going to speak of. Frankie was on a plane from LA to New York yesterday and didn't tell anyone. So everyone is not being communicated with Frankie. No one's talking with him, and they're all just assuming, oh, he's ghosting everyone. He's inactive. When in reality, he's on a fucking... I mean, I don't even know how long that plane ride is. Like 4 or 5 hours on top of a 3-hour late. I don't know. Don't ask me. I don't know. But a long time to be away from Discord, especially like in the heat of the plague. And he goes 2 hours, almost 3 hours, and finally plagues someone. But everyone's just kind of like, hello, are you there? Which never sits well with anyone. And Daniel took it probably the worst of anyone. Daniel was not happy with that because everyone else was around and talking, and Frankie wasn't. So,
Well,
hey, but sometimes being inactive has its perks, and we'll get to that later.
to Frankie's credit, it doesn't matter how Daniel felt about it because
Yeah, Daniel ain't HOH, so it don't fucking matter. If anything, Gabe's on the fucking block. Spoiler alert. And this is kind of in the meantime, everyone, like, while Frankie's on his plane ride, to no one's knowledge, everyone's kind of discussing, like, do you want it? And a lot of people don't want it. the two earliest people who are like, no, I want to be in the contention here are Michael Brady and Tony. They are actively telling people, I want the head of household. Give it to me. Tony's openly being like, give it to me. Michael Brady's playing the approach of like, well, if no one else wants it, like, I'll take it. Like, I'm not dying for it, but I'll gladly, like, if no one else wants it, I'll take it. As time goes on, Marcus hasn't really openly said he wanted it, but as time goes on, as he gets closer and closer, Marcus is like, actually, I do want this. And Jodie seems to be convinced by the primo alliance of Judy and Ashley. Jodie, you want this. You want this. And Jodie finally, as time goes on, wants it as well, which makes this next plague so heartbreaking because Tony has told everyone in this cast, I want it. And then Frankie lands in New York and goes, yeah, plaguing Tony. No communication, no forewarning. Poor Tony, who is dying to have this head of household, gets plagued. It is so heartbreaking. And it's just like, oh, poor thing. God. And it's even worse. Honestly, because at the point in which Frankie had plagued Tony had like quadrupled or quintupled messaged Frankie at that point. Like, it had gone through Saturday night into Sunday morning into Sunday afternoon. And honestly, I'm still not sure if Frankie has responded. I'm going to go check. Okay, they have responded. I just wanted to say. So it was just hard to see Tony kind of get, screwed there by nothing of his own. Like, he really did try to make an effort with Frankie, and sometimes it doesn't happen. Tony then plagues Ashley, no forewarning. Ashley then plagues Madison, no forewarning. Just truly back to back of people being told nada as they get tagged in the Discord, being like, hey, you have the plague, do something with it. Congrats. It was just so funny to just watch this whole train unravel of like plaguing people that you haven't, really bonded with. And that's fine. You can just say, hey, I'm plaguing you. That also works. Madison takes this not well.
How dare you remember that I'm here?
How dare you? No, I'm kidding. Madison gets tagged that she's been plagued, and what goes into her project being like, wow, Ashley really woke me the fuck up. Like, wow, thanks for not communicating with me. As I think at that point, Ashley and Madison had maybe
How was the snow shoveling?
How was the snow shuffling? Truly, so fucking great.
Meanwhile, Ashley's like, I'm going to go to the wave pool.
Which I'm still so confused by, because that must not have been meant for Ashley. That had been meant for Sam, right?
No, Ashley also said she was snow shoveling, which
she was, but then went to a wave pool. Is she insane?
So she said in Madison's, I think the wave pool is like one of those like fitness center wave pools, like where you're indoors.
Gotcha.
But so the last message they had was like 4 hours prior, and it was just Ashley saying, I'm going to shovel snow or something like that. And then as soon as Madison gets tagged, she's like, how was the snow shoveling? Because there was no, like, she wanted to talk to her. Ashley didn't say anything to Madison except, like, I'm going to go shovel snow, but then, like, without saying anything to her, plagues her.
Well, see, here's what's confusing is because Ashley said, good morning, Godspeed on the snow shoveling, because Madison lives in Pennsylvania, which would make sense why she would be shoveling snow. I thought Ashley is at a literal water park. So I was confused.
Maybe it's an indoor place. I don't know.
So I was confused why Madison then responds, "How'd the snow shoveling go?" Like, huh? Ashley's not shoveling snow.
There's a lot of.
It made no fucking sense, but it was funny. Truly, serious waves. It's giving me a brain aneurysm, but like I was just confused. So Ashley that plagues Madison, and Madison then literally Ashley's getting plagued. Madison responds like, "How'd the snow shoveling go?" Which makes no sense in the context of anything.
It doesn't. It really doesn't.
And Madison's pissed. Madison's like, "What the hell? What did I do?" And then immediately after goes, "So is there a reason you plagued me?" Ashley, I don't think responds for a good minute. It was just like, "Sorry, no rhyme or reason," which is the worst thing to say.
But that is so like anything I've noticed from Ashley is incredibly pragmatic and is not really going to suck up to you or tell you what you want to hear. And like I think if you don't understand her personality, that isn't going to come across. And like you shouldn't expect someone to know your personality when you don't know them. But I do think that like beyond that, it is very genuine coming from her. I have no reason. It's not personal. I
just say, "Girl, we sent 9 messages yesterday."
Yeah.
It's very simple. To be like, "Hey."
Luckily for Ashley, I don't see Madison rising into power. So I think
I was just like, Ashley, just like be all, I don't know. It's just wild to me. Anyway, Madison is angry, but Madison then kicks off a big chain of people who don't want it and are dying to be plagued. So Madison gives it to Gabby, who then gives it to Daniel, who then gives it to Karthik, and we'll pause here. All 3 of them wanted to be plagued. They didn't want to be in the head of household competition and wanted to be out of it. And this is where we get an interesting dilemma. After Daniel plagues Karthik, Daniel's like, "Hey, my love, can you please plague Lauren?" Karthik, who is already now called with Lauren and obviously is trying to keep up the facade that, they like each other because he called her, goes, "Hey, Lauren, I'm asking around and trying to plague someone who doesn't want to be in the HOH competition. Do you want to, like, can I plague you?" Lauren, no. So now puts Karthik in a position of like, well, fuck, Daniel just did me a solid by taking me out. And he wants me to plague Lauren because that's the last person in the competition he feels uncomfortable with. But Lauren is telling me that she doesn't want to be plagued.
He played it exactly the way he needed to, though, I think.
And Karthik was like, "Hey, she doesn't want to be out right now, but I will work hard to make sure that she's not the head of household. But I'm going to plague someone who wants to be out." So we'll come back to this. Plague Sam Lechner, who wants to be plagued. And then this one's also really fucking funny to me. Because now we're reaching the point of you have this weird dichotomy of players who want to be in the competition. People like Michael Brady, Marcus, and Jodely. And then you have players who don't want to be in the competition, like Judy, Preston, and Lauren, but Lauren and Preston are both playing the game of like, I don't actually want to win, but like, I'm going to keep telling people I want to stay in. So I have maybe more power in the end game. I don't know.
I think that for a split second, because I was in on the Foser and Preston call when Sam got plagued, and Preston said to Foser, "Sam and I have been talking about how we don't want this. She just got plagued. I'm going to ask her for it." Sam goes to Preston and says, "Do you want me to plague you?" And he says, "No."
I don't know.
I think for a split second, I don't think that he played this poorly. Like, let's be fair. Like, I think it's a little like misstep, but I don't think it's poor. But I think for a split second, he thought maybe I could have it. Like, and in this whole time where you're close to being the end, and hey, if I'm HOH, I'm 100% not going to be the first boot of this game. So maybe the first split second he did think that he maybe wanted it, or maybe he thought I haven't secured a deal yet, or I don't know what the case is. I think it probably goes to what you were saying, but that's why I went into his prod chat and I was confused. I was like, you just said you didn't want it. You said you wanted Sam to plague you, but then you tell her you don't want her to plague you. I'm confused what you want here. And he's like, "Oh no, I absolutely don't want it." It's like, well, the actions are not like it's aligning. It's like you realize there are like 5 people left and you need to get out. And he was not really taking the steps to get out.
Yeah, it was just weird. So Sam's going around trying to figure out who to plague. And it seems very much that Sam wants to plague someone they don't feel comfortable with, being HOH. Because they get to Jodely and be like, hey, Jodely, do you want to win HOH? And Jodely gives a very Jodely Tan response of, honestly, to be honest, I feel like people have been slowly coming up to me more since I've been in this comp and are like giving me eyes. XD face, which I read in Jodely Tan's voice of like, people are coming to me being like, you should stay in the competition and you should want it. And like, I do want to stay in. But people who don't know Jodely Tan read that as, what the fuck?
It's like a riddle. It's
really a riddle wrapped in an enigma, wrapped in a logic game. It's literally like, what the fuck did you? What fucking hieroglyphic ass shit is this? So Sam just plays Jodely, despite Jodely wanting to be in the competition.
No,
So
I honestly, I love watching Jodely. Like, I've never watched Jodely play anything. Like, I've seen like a couple minis and stuff like that. But honestly, like, I think playing with Jodely would be like playing an escape room. Like, and I don't mean like you're trying to get away from Jodely, but like it's full of riddles and puzzles, and you're like trying to figure out like, if I respond to this way, how is this gonna go? And like, I think it's very fun, and like Jodely's super charming on a call. But yes, I think the way that Jodely frames things, especially in text, like I think in voice, like very like much more to the point of things, but in the text, it's so interesting because I don't exactly what you said. If you don't know how to take Jodely, like how are you gonna take Jodely?
Yeah, exactly. So it was just funny to watch now another player get taken out of the competition despite wanting to be in it. It was just fun. So Jodely's now out, and Jodely kicks off another chain of people taking them out who don't want to be in, taking out Judy, followed by Preston. Preston finally, I guess, decides, all right, now I really don't want it. I don't fucking know. I know. And now we are at our final 3 people left in the competition. We are left with Michael Brady, Lauren, and Marcus. Marcus and Michael Brady want it. Lauren does not want it. And you have 2 very differing ideas of what could happen here. You have Marcus. I'm trying to figure out who Marcus, who told us in their diary room during the competition that they would have targeted Jodely and Lauren as the first 2 nominees based solely off of vibes, not getting a lot of communication. Cool. Michael Brady, we did not get an official nom set until after the competition, which obviously has bias and hindsight all involved in that. So, like, obviously we don't know what they truly would have done because what Michael would have done, probably what he says he would have done, probably was impacted by what we're about to talk about. But Michael said that he would have done Frankie and Marcus. So we have very differing opinions on what the 2 people left in the challenge that want it would do, which is always fun to have this like weird intertwining thing of people wanting to nominate each other. The people that are left. It's really fun. Like Marcus wants to nominate Lauren, Michael wants to nominate Marcus, but they're all still left and have to make some kind of weird. It's great. Loving the TV. Now let's get to what unfolds. Preston basically has been crafting this plan for the end of the plague. It was very clear to us that Michael Brady was likely going to win this challenge because everyone and their mom was like, I don't want it. I don't want it. I don't want it. And Michael Brady was being proactive and telling everyone, I will take it. I will take it. Don't worry about it. So it seemed very clear. We're going to give it to Michael Brady. And Preston and Michael Brady had a really great call. Preston's like, no, let's give it to him. We're good. So I think that's why Preston wanted to stay a little bit longer so he could ensure that Michael Brady gets it. So when it gets to the final 3, he makes a plan. Preston's going to plague Marcus, and then Lauren is going to beg to be plagued from Marcus, leaving Michael Brady as the head of household. So Preston plagues Marcus and tells Marcus, hey, the other 2 told me they really want the head of household. So because I haven't heard how much you want to be in the challenge, I'm going to take you out because those two are proactive with me and want to be in. So now we have Marcus deciding who is the head of household between Michael Brady and Lauren. Lauren approaches Marcus and is like, actually, Marcus, I really don't want the head of household. So like, please plague me. Which is so confusing for Marcus. Like, what the fuck? I'm like, Marcus, who wants to be in the challenge, just got plagued because he's being told the other two in the challenge want it more than Marcus. And now you have Lauren being like, I don't actually want it. And he's in his DMs hearing from Keisha, give it to Brady. Hearing from a lot of people, just give it to Brady. Just give it to Brady. Just give it to Brady. And again, we only can go off of what Marcus tells us. In their chat. And Marcus was like, I feel like Lauren's in more danger than she thinks she is. Marcus felt like Lauren was more on the inactive side than most of the cast. And based on messages sent, that's a very good read.
I think that's a good read.
Lauren sent one of the least amount of messages on day 0. And definitely has been scaring a little bit of people in terms of what they've been sharing. I think that's a great read. So ultimately, Marcus decides, actually, Lauren, I worry for you. I worry if you are not HOH that you could be on the block and being evicted this week, and I don't want to see you go. So I'm not going to honor your request in plaguing you. In fact, I'm going to give you head of household.
Which, in the whole explain your purpose of it all, like, here's the thing, saying I worried about you, but withholding the fact of I was also going to nominate you is strange. Like, if I was going to nominate you, I don't care that someone else was going to nominate you. Someone else just gets to take you out for me. But I was going to nominate you, but I'm worried that Michael was going to nominate you. So please have the HOH. And this is if Marcus wants to nom Lauren, yeah, she made the right choice. Like, obviously she didn't know that, but
so
he comes off as benevolent in the message. She totally ignores it, but then he's also failing to recognize that he basically wanted her out anyway.
Yeah, so, it's camp. It's camp. I'm obsessed with this moment because as production, we'd been talking for hours how like this is just give it to Michael Brady at this point. It felt very San Juan del Sur. Like if we're just gonna like play this fucking stupid ass, no one fucking wants it, and let's make this whole chain. Like, let's just give it to Brady and let's move on with our lives. Like, we don't need to sit here and do the formalities. So for Marcus at the last minute to be like, actually, I'm going to give it to Lauren was so funny to me. And it's so funny because now you had multiple people in the challenge earlier who wanted to plague Lauren. Daniel wanted to plague Lauren. Judy wanted to plague Lauren. Sam Lechner wanted to plague Lauren. So many people are now looking back on this moment being like, fuck, I should have just done what I wanted to do rather than, give somebody what they wanted, aka they wanted to be out. So I plagued them just to like make a safe plague instead of just plaguing the person I don't feel comfortable with and dealing with the ramifications later. Because now what you ended up with is an HOH that you don't trust. That you've now told people that you wanted to plague them. And now you've given other people ammunition. Luckily, none of it's been used against them. But it was just really funny to watch so many people freak the fuck out that Lauren is now the head of household. Hello.
Oh, I mean, even Karthik being like, well, I haven't heard anything. I guess that means I'm nominated. And
yeah.
And I think that speaks, though, to... there is the newbie of it all. Like, I draw parallels to a lot of things that we've seen in the past, but I think there is a rookie mistake of, like, if you're not transparent to at least an extent of your feelings, like, even if you just come out and say, like, I'm not sure what I'm doing, but you're safe. Like, I think when you don't include people and they feel left out on that, like, the fact that you left them on edge for a few hours makes them inherently not want to trust you. And Karthik is largely the reason why Lauren is probably not nominated because he didn't honor Daniel's wishes. But it's just so interesting because these people just kind of sit around on their hands when like high pressure moments. Like, why the hell were these people sitting on the game night call? And then also not piecing together that the people not on the game night call might actually be talking about the nominations.
it's so fucking good. It's really fucking good because now let's get to what I mean, the craziness that transpires with Marcus plaguing Michael Brady. Lauren's the head of household. Michael Brady's now pissed because Michael's like, what the fuck? Like, Lauren literally asked you to plague her and you didn't do it. So that's 2 days in a row that Marcus has left Michael Brady on red. Has now denied Lauren's request to give Michael Brady the head of household. Michael's angry. Lauren's pissed because she thought that Michael Brady was going to be head of household, and she went through all of these motions to give it to Michael Brady, someone that she is heavily working with. So she approaches Marcus, what's your purpose? Asking what the fuck were you doing? I literally asked you to plague me and you didn't do it. Marcus obviously responds like an hour and a half later with the whole, I was nervous for you. That's why I wanted to give it to you, blah, blah, blah. Lauren's paranoid that there is some scheme behind her back to give her the head of household despite her never wanting it. So she hops on call with Michael Brady. He is watching the fucking, I think the 49ers game or whatever was happening at that point. Or maybe the Eagles game. I don't fucking know. He's watching football with his friends and has to go outside his house to hop on call with Lauren, who's the HOH. And literally the first words out of her mouth were, I need you to look me in the eyes and promise me that you did not scheme behind my back or there's not some plan behind my back to give me HOH. And Michael's like, what the fuck are you talking about? This is already after Lauren has already approached him like once or twice in their one-on-one chat before the call to be like, what the fuck just happened? And Brady does raise his voice at her, being like, girl, nothing is up. You're politely, you're paranoid. And I need you to trust me that like, this was not part of the plan. The call obviously doesn't end well. They both leave. Lauren's angry that he raised her voice at her. Michael's mad at himself for even raising his voice at her and handling it poorly. The call's not great for anyone. So now Lauren's pissed at Michael Brady on top of everyone in the world. You've got Tony sending TikToks to the main chat. Almost everyone's playing Board Game Arena. No one's talking to Lauren. Lauren's not talking to anybody. It is camp in the house right now. It's camp.
If this was all edited into the real show, they would be playing that like whimsical music in the background. Like I don't even know how to do the music, but you all know what I mean.
Oh,
because
absolutely.
Just like everyone, it felt like we were in the Twilight Zone. And honestly, I choose to live in the alternate universe where for a moment Lauren decided to nominate Michael Brady. Did I want that to happen? Like, no, because I appreciate what he's bringing to the season. But the shit show that Lauren would have unleashed if she put up Michael Brady week 1 when he, to be honest, didn't do anything. Yes, he may have yelled a little bit on the call, so he definitely did that. But like in terms of the game sense, he didn't do anything to wrong her.
Yeah. No, I don't think so either.
I love Lauren to death, and Lauren, if you watch this postseason, I think that you have all the capabilities to be a great player. I think you are just 4 or 5 steps ahead of yourself right now, and you are thinking further than you need to think at the moment, which isn't a bad characteristic to have. I just wish someone could shake Lauren and say, I know it's crazy to do in a game based around lying, deception, and manipulation, but when someone says, hey, I didn't fuck you over, and they have given you no reason to believe they fucked you over prior, and there's 14 other people in the game, maybe don't beef with your number one ally just for fun.
And the whole like he yelled at me of it all is also like she failed to acknowledge the fact that she hurled a huge accusation at him that got him like excited, and so. I maybe if he raised his voice, I wasn't there, but like if he raised his voice, maybe he would have. But also like, don't hurl some heinous accusation at your number one ally, right? Like in a high pressure moment.
Yeah, both are in the wrong here. Like Lauren should not have come at him that hard, and Michael should not have raised his voice. They both have apologized since. They both know that call was good for neither of them. Like they both know they were in the wrong, and they both apologized. So neither's a bad person.
Yeah,
that call was just bad.
And it wasn't like a completely far-fetched thought for Lauren to have. Obviously, Lauren doesn't know how Michael plays, but
Yeah.
like for her to have said it to Marcus, him said nothing, Michael basically not being online, and then Michael showing up in Lauren's DMs and being like, "You won." It's not it's not a huge conclusion to jump to. Like she made sense. I wish that she had just let the intrusive thoughts stay in her head a little bit and put them in her prod chat. Because she's giving great thoughts in there, so like maybe just pile those on top.
Well, and if it was really like a coup to be against you, they wouldn't have wanted you in power. So,
But on top of all of it, it doesn't help that Marcus isn't responding. Who she's like, "What was your purpose for doing that?" And Marcus isn't responding, so like that doesn't help her either. Because now she really thinks something's up, and because she can see him on the main chat, it's not like he's off a Discord. She can literally see that you're playing fucking board games.
yeah, my favorite thing in all of this is it's like, Lauren's been super paranoid about all of this, and it reminds me of like, I think BB Can is probably more this is happening, so Blake probably can relate a little bit more to this, like where they're looking for like the secret passageways in the house, and like she just accidentally falls into Madison's lair. Like I don't even know how they had a communication, but it just feels so weird. It's like all of a sudden you get the notification that Madison and Lauren are on a call together. Like, how the hell did they even link up? And because all these people are on the main call, like you said. And I think that the choices of calling, like your number one ally who you accuse of like trying to pull funny business on you, you call one person who you've maybe exchanged the least messages with, and then you don't talk to anyone else.
No.
Including the people you're planning to nominate.
And that's what makes it so camp at the end of the day. Like all of this going on, Tony's quintupling messaging Lauren, tagging her, being like, at Lauren, I hope you're going to take into consideration that I've like really been trying to reach out to you and get to know you. Like she's not talking to anybody. They're playing board games. Marcus isn't responding. Tony's sending TikToks to the main chat. Like through all of this chaos, somehow, some way, Madison goes, "Hey, congrats! If you want to call sometime," and Lauren goes, "Yeah, want to call now?" Madison's first call of the game and gets in line to be number one to call Lauren.
She really pulled the 777s on the slot machine. I mean,
not on my bingo card. Not on my fucking bingo card.
I cannot understate, like I know we've said it in the VL, but like Lauren is a treat to have in this game because listen, I know that seasoned orgers will never do this, but like take note, the drama of putting up two people that aren't the easy house targets, one of them being the person who just gave you HOH on a silver platter. Is it the best gameplay for her long game? Almost assuredly not. But it's really fun to watch, and it's not boring. You know, it would have been really boring? A Frankie Madison nom set. So I just think this is really going to set the pace of play for the season. And we always talk about like, oh my God, I wish some of these newbies or like less active players had more time to find their footing, and like this is the time. Like this is the time for Frankie and Tony and Madison to find their footing in this cast. So
I definitely think, to your point, Blake, like I think especially in the Plague, as you start to know the players that are available to nominate as the day goes on, the cast can almost narrate what the nominees are going to be by kind of just like normalizing it almost as if it's already been done. And they were so prepared for the Frankie Madison nom set that I think that was part of what the surprise was. But like no one really, I mean, to Lauren's credit, not many people even asked her what she wanted to do or anything like that. So to come out of that just assuming that this Madison Frankie nom set, when also that information wasn't even really shared with her, it was all like, well, behind the scenes we think it's going to be these people, but you also never talked to her to be like, oh, we think it would be these people. It is a stretch of a conclusion.
Yeah, but whatever. We get on to, in my opinion, one of the wildest calls I have ever had the pleasure of listening in on, and that is Madison and Lauren, where Lauren basically alludes to knowing what she's going to do with the nominations, says that there are three people who have really been ghosting her and not really talking to her, and now that she's HOH, they all want to chat with her. And I'm like, oh, so Madison. And Lauren's like, and Madison, you're not one of them. I almost dropped my laptop. in the nearest body of water because I thought this had to have been a dream. I needed to wake up from it. I was like, sis, you have 12 messages, 16 messages between y'all over the course of 24, I guess at that point, like 32 hours. And Madison literally reached out because you're head of household. And you're over here being like, you're doing none of those things, Madison. I was like, I don't know what fucking black magic voodoo shit Madison Brown just pulled for doing exactly what Lauren is saying she's not doing. But you know what? Work, Madison. At the end of the day, here, I give props
Lauren
to Madison.
watched Madison on College Survivor, saw the rankings come out, and said, I can't.
I don't know. Madison was very calm on that call, and I think that's what Lauren needed. So work, sis.
You know when you do a call in an org and you're like, damn, that conversation just like really wasn't flowing. I was watching the Madison and Lauren call and going, damn, that conversation really wasn't flowing. But for some reason, they both seemed to think that it was. And also, Madison did one of the weirder things I've ever seen someone do in an org, which is tell the HOH, I won't hold it against you if you put me up. Like, don't say that. Like,
No.
I understand you want to seem like adaptable and like, oh, like I'm not going to be pissed at you. Like, I'm not that type of player. But if I hear someone that I'm like, oh, we've barely talked, and they're like, I wouldn't take it personal, I'm like, okay, cool, I'm going to lock that one in. But like Lee said, it did work. And
God.
Lauren, I think, Lauren had her sights set on 3 people before she got on that call. And I think it really would have taken an absolute nuclear meltdown by Madison on that call for her to like fuck it up. And she didn't do that. So kudos to Madison. I mean, one thing about Madison that I will say, she hasn't been the most active person in the game so far, but we've said before, like, she places well in every game she plays, even if she plays 4 at the same time. So you can't say she's bad. And she showed it yesterday. Like, she knows where to slide in.
Power. I mean, she knew the only 2 calls she had were what the person who wins HOH and the person she puts on the wheel in case they win a power. So,
and spoiler alert, they do. So, like, you know what? Hey, work, sis. Fucking work smarter, not harder. She really said, I'm going to call the 2 people with the most power in the game so far. And you know what? Go off. I mean, as Blake said, Lauren, after pretty much funny enough, ghosting everyone herself, really needing a break from the paranoia, lands on Frankie, Daniel, and Marcus as the 3 people she's targeting. And we're all thinking in our head, Frankie's a lock. And it's a question of, is it Daniel? Is it Marcus? Because Michael Brady said, I would do Marcus. And I think Daniel's a bad choice to do this early because he is so active. So color us surprise when she sends in her fucking nomination video and it's Daniel and Marcus. And Frankie is safe.
The amount of prod blindsides yesterday, like, Marcus didn't tell us I guess he did tell us, but like Marcus gave us no indication that he was going to plague Michael. So the message came in real time, and me and Erica were like, holy shit, like, this was not what we expected. And then that happened, like, they're delivering.
So good. Yeah, so her reasonings for Daniel is that you talk a ton in the main chat, but not to her, which I'm sitting here being like, well, I guess Frankie just doesn't talk to anyone, so I guess he's safe on both sides. She doesn't talk, at least because he doesn't talk to you, he's not in the main chat talking, even though he's playing board games for 4 hours. But you know what? Nor here nor there. And then says, Marcus, you should have talked to me sooner after the HOH to ensure there was no funny business after ignoring my request to plague me, which is also funny considering she then ghosted everyone. Everyone's in their project being like, well, I guess it's me because she's not talking to me. It was just, it's camp. It's so funny. It's so good. I love it. It was such a fun day to like live in the BBH house on top of the fucking, the carousel of chaos going on, you know, between Preston and Karthik volunteering, and then Judy going around campaigning for Preston, and then Marcus is on the board game call being like, no, let's split the votes between me and Karthik. On top of everything else that's going on camp-wise, it's so camp. Daniel finds his way onto the wheel by asking Preston to vote for him. Michael Brady then splits with Sam Leck. It's a mess. it is a hot goddamn mess in the house right now with everything going on between everything. It's so good.
I'll admit,
At the
I
end of the
need
day,
a Oh, sorry.
you need a what?
I was gonna say I need a moment this season
What do you
where
need?
someone gets one vote on the wheel and gets the cares. Like that's my dream scenario. I don't
Yeah,
want it to be
London.
the majority person every single time. Also, am I cutting out Lee or is that Carl?
No, I think it's Carl.
Oh,
agreed.
okay.
No, is it me?
The business
You're
center
you're
is
a bit
not
delayed,
open.
Carl. You're a little bit delayed.
Oh, that's nasty. Well, y'all talk.
Well,
Yeah, just keep going, Blake.
Oh yeah, go.
hi.
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 No, I continue, with your thought. I agree. I think it would be fun to see like someone who either was not planned or even someone who just really wanted to like get one person's name on there, and even if it's just to fuck them over. Like I think that would have been fun too, and have the low odds still pick that person. I think would be very fun. I don't know. I don't know. You're probably not going to see anything like that happen though. While the cast is still as large as it is.
Yeah, it wasn't like the most climactic result of the wheel yesterday, but I mean, what do it's randomness of the person and randomness of the power or disadvantage. So it was kind of anticlimactic in the sense of like we're not gonna know what that even is. Well, y'all won't know what that even is until live night. Karthik won't know.
No,
I think Karthik will be here at live night.
I do too. And the idea of even if he isn't, it's probably going to go to either Gabby or Michael Brady now.
Yeah.
And that's very exciting as well. I wouldn't be surprised to see a trio form between the three of them. Like, I don't think that they've compared notes on each other, but Brady loves Gabby. Gabby loves Karthik. Karthik loves Gabby. And that late night call last night between Brady and Karthik,
Yeah, that's great.
I mean, it was well over 2 hours.
Mhm.
So it's going to be one to watch. And I did not have on my bingo card Karthik and Brady becoming so close, but there are. And
I'm excited.
the one thing I want to really give Brady some credit on, because I think that he probably had some fumbles with Lauren, but I had never really watched him on an org call of any like real substance until I watched him with Karthik. And the way that he is so reassuring to an ally and said to Karthik probably 10 times of like, I just feel so good about you. I cannot wait to play this game together. The way that he just spreads that mist over people is so interesting to me. And he sells it very genuinely. But I was aware of the Brady mist, but to see it up front and to really see him work his magic and dazzle Karthik was quite fascinating. And I believed everything he said. Like I do fully believe that Brady wants to work with Karthik in probably the closest capacity now. But he just has such a good way of, I think, reassuring people.
Yeah.
Well, I think the reason the Lauren HOH was even more gag worthy was like Michael Brady basically just told like 2 or 3 people he wanted it and then disappeared for the day. And the whole day, anytime someone got the plague pass to them, you would see them go to Lauren's chat and be like, "Do you care if I plague you?" Which is always the sign that someone wants to plague someone. And every time she was like, I'd like to stay in a little longer. And of course, people gave her her wish. But that speaks volumes about Michael Brady because he just wasn't here for most of the day and no one was really sliding. I mean, occasionally people were like, "Do you care? Like, I just need someone to do." But it speaks volumes of how he set himself up that he just kind of pretty easily slid to the end of that and really only had like 1 or 2 people that was like, "Hey, you're my friend. Like, can I get the blood off my hands?" And again, I mean, I said it in the roundtable preseason, but like, you don't know the Brady mist works until it's too late, and it's working.
Yeah, he's doing really well. Him and Karthik right now are top tier for me. Not only because they're working together, but I think Karthik is playing very well for now. Obviously, he won the legacy advantage. Hopefully, he doesn't tell anyone till like near the end where no one tries to like Sarah Lucina him into getting the legacy advantage for live night. So I'm hoping
when I followed his Endure season, he had a hard time. Well, let me also point this that his idol was no secret, and he had it for the majority of the game from the beginning of the game, but he couldn't keep it a secret because he found it with someone else. So I think that was a big part of like why he probably felt like he had to be more forthcoming. I do believe, though, the criticism he got, and here's the thing, he played out in the open with a very publicly known idol and still didn't get voted out of that game, and even misplayed the idol. So I think that he probably won't tell people. But I think as much as I am impressed with him and Karthik, like I am also, I just spoke about her, I'm equally impressed, maybe even more so with Gabby, because I think Gabby doesn't even have to like be intentional in her social game. She's just, it's that much felt, and she's not even being seen as like having a motive or anything when she talks to people. So I find that game almost right now to be more powerful, because I'd say she's probably one of the more so protected people. Like I just couldn't think of anyone that would come in and win a power and say Gabby's going to be my nomination.
Oh yeah, no, she's sitting pretty. Everyone really likes her. I think being on the board game call, her really being close to the players who have the most influence, she's just fine for right now. There are definitely some players who don't like feel super close to her, but there's enough influence in the house and support of her that people would be scared to nominate her.
Oh, so, and even if she ended up on the block, I just don't see anyone allowing a vote out Gabby thing to pass. And maybe, honestly, I don't think a pre-jury nomination for Gabby is a bad thing for her, because I think if you have it's going to give her the chance to really like enamor the rest of the people. But once you have the troops rallying behind you to save you, she's protected. So I don't think a pre-jury nomination is out of the question for Gabby, but I also don't think it's a bad thing for Gabby.
Well, let's look forward. We've got Daniel and Marcus on the block. Both have some support systems. Daniel definitely has more support. Definitely has Michael Brady and Sam's support. Sam Lechner. And Lauren has gone around saying that Daniel's not the target and that Marcus is indeed the target. So if they want to exert their influence over this house and get what they want, if the nominations are to stay the same, I think Daniel can easily stay. But do note that Karthik has clocked that Michael and Sam are working together. Lauren has gone around saying that Sam's running the game and that Sam and Michael are working together. Lauren's also said that Karthik and Michael are working together. Again, some good reads here from Lauren. I'm not sure, how much of that's paranoia or what, where it's coming from, but good reads from Lauren. And we all know Lauren can't keep her mouth shut. So she goes around telling everyone that Sam Lechner's running the game with Michael Brady and Karthik, and they try to exert their power over this vote. Probably not a good idea on their part. So who knows? I don't know what's going to happen. Karthik's in an interesting position because he likes Daniel, but then kind of went against Daniel's wishes, and now Lauren is the HOH and nominating Daniel. But then you have Foser, who really wants to save Marcus. It seems like Jodely is kind of hinting that they want to save Marcus because they prefer charisma over strategic players. So who knows? Truly, if the noms stay the same, I do think Daniel will stay, but I don't think Marcus is dead in the water. I do think Marcus has some support, and the big players who could get clocked are going to have to do something if they want to save Daniel, which could prove some validity to what Lauren is going around and saying. So I don't know, but we have to finish up a veto today and crown a winner. Right now, Sam Lechner is winning despite her not wanting to win. Sam has said that she would likely not use it, assuming she hears that Daniel is fine and safe. But if she hears any words that Marcus might stay, she'll save Daniel, which who knows what the fuck Lauren will do on a renom. She said Frankie's name as a potential, but who the fuck knows at this point? Someone might look at her the wrong way, and now they're on the block. So who knows?
I'd have to imagine, though, that that's probably the direction that will be taken. And again, maybe this is just maybe this is just a shortcoming, because she is a newbie and therefore wouldn't know better. But once you've said that name out loud to anybody, like, you might as well just do it.
Yeah, kind of need to. Coming from the king of, I told half the house I was going to nominate Angelica Dan and whoever else you said, and then didn't.
Right, I have learned what that. But I do think, like, there is so much merit to that statement of, once you've said it out loud to enough people, you might as well do it.
Yeah,
because it's whether you did or not, you pretty much did.
Yeah.
I really want to split vote round one. I don't think we're gonna get one. The only world that I could maybe see it is like the Jodalee, Ashley, Keisha trio pushes to save Marcus, as does Foser. But even then, that only makes it 9-4. You would need a few more people to jump ship, which I think with this cast could happen. But the problem here for Marcus, and I love Marcus to death, and he has been so fun, but I think the people that are willing to go to bat for Marcus they're not unwilling to go to bat for Daniel as well. And when you flip the situation, there's people that are willing to go to bat for Daniel that don't have a relationship with Marcus. So all it really takes in the first eviction like this is a few people to be firmly like pro you to keep you in the game. And I don't think Marcus has those people that are like, I'm really good with you and I'm not good with Daniel. Someone like Keisha, who was Marcus's first call and who was the first call of the game, if I'm not mistaken.
I think so.
Keisha has already expressed feeling good with Daniel as well. So it's like, that's someone in your corner that could have a lot of influence that probably won't go to bat for you because they're willing to see both people stay. Marcus's best case scenario, because I just woke up recently. He didn't do well in the veto, did he? No. How did he score? Okay, I thought that was a typo on the sheet, so I had to ask.
I wish it was.
Yeah. Oh, hello, Erica.
I think
popular program.
If anyone can harness that, like, I think that is not necessarily a bad pitch. Like, look how badly I did here when my life was on the line.
We'll have to see. Yes, we're getting badass.
Listen, I rolled out of bed and joined morning tea immediately because yeah, you're right. I stayed in bed and joined morning tea immediately.
Get him.
But yeah, Marcus's best case scenario, I guess, since he's not winning POV, is for Sam or Daniel to win POV and veto Daniel. Which at this rate, I don't think Sam will veto Daniel because I think she'll get a pulse of the house and see that he is probably safe. Daniel seems smart enough to win this, though. Like, Daniel gives me very composed, like, plays a lot of puzzle games vibes. So I could see him, like, beating Sam's score here. So, oh, God, I don't know.
We've got Daniel at 1 Eastern, Frankie at 1:30 Eastern, and Lauren at some point in time. So we'll see what happens. A lot can change. It's not set in stone. I have faith. I mean, Marcus and Daniel are already both campaigning, which I love to see that they're already being like worst case scenario. I might still be on the block. I want to talk about the eviction now and why I should stay versus anyone Lauren puts up next to me. So I love to see.
Which I think is really, it benefits either one of them in the case that a renom does happen, because that person just doesn't have the luxury to put in the work. Like, if you can get someone to promise to keep you and then there's a new renom and all of a sudden their hands feel tied, like, that's a great position to be in if you're that original nominee.
Yeah, I'm living for the drama. I mean, could you imagine Frankie as the potential renom winning the veto and using it? God help this house. God help us all for what I'll have to cover tomorrow. But that's all we really have. A chaotic day one after a very calm and mellow day 0. So we'll see what happens today. Stick with us. We'll be back tomorrow at 10:30 Eastern. Maybe Josh will join us. TBD. I don't know. He's got to figure his stuff out. But with that being said, for the where is Stephanie Fagan's thing? For the BBH camp of me, Lee, and Blake and Ricky DeBatis, if she's still in the room. Maybe not. She might be in the bathroom.
She's in the bathroom.
You know what? Close enough. We're peacing on out. We'll catch you in the Discord. Bye, everyone.